Okay, so we're going to be going back to the hilchot of interruptions during a meal. It's the middle of a bread meal, and I'm interrupting my meal. Interruptions such as davening in the middle of the Suda, okay, or taking a short nap at the table. Problem is, we said that if you take your mind off eating, you're going to have to make new brachot, make new blessings. So, what's the din if I daven in the middle of the Suda? So let's take a look. Here in the Tzurba, he wants to start off with Masechet Chulin. Masechet Chulin says, it's talking about someone who has to shecht and put kisei hadam. Can you make two brachot, one bracha? And it tries to bring a proof from a guy who says, give me a cup to make Birkat Hamazon. Right? He's not allowed to eat or drink anymore until he makes Birkat Hamazon. Right? Because once you say, I want to make Birkat Hamazon, give me a kos, I want to make kosher bracha Birkat Hamazon, his meal has come to an end. Okay? Once you say, I'm done, I want Birkat Hamazon, you cannot eat anymore without making brachot because you've done your meal.
But I didn't mention yet.
Here he says, Kivin the Amar, have livrach, itaseh le'mishtei chamra. Once he said, I want a bench, you cannot drink anymore. That's it. You have to make new brachot. So based on this, turn to page 46. The Torah says, Adam sheniskar b'toich hasuda shelo yitpalel v'amad v'yitpalel. Someone remembers in the middle of the meal, I didn't daven, and I want to daven. He gets up and he davens in the same room in his dining room. Right? We're not talking about leaving yet. When he finishes davening, tzarich litel yadav v'levarach Birkat Hamosi. He has to make a Birkat Hamosi, says the Torah. Why? Because it's impossible to pray and eat at the same time. Since you can't do both at the same time, you can't daven and eat at the same time, it's considered as if you ended your meal and you have to make new brachot. That's what the Torah says.
No, but he has in his mind, he's going to continue.
So Tosfot says like you. So that's the Tosfot opinion. Tosfot says that if someone forgot to pray, and you remember in the middle of the meal, and then prayed, he does not recite another bracha. Even Lechatchik doesn't recite another bracha. And he says, Rabbeinu Yom Tov said, right, from the Torah, where Rabbeinu Yom Tov said, he says, it's not the same thing. Because in that case in Chulin, the guy said, I want a bench. He said, I want to end my meal. And you get up in the middle to daven, you didn't say, I want to end my meal. You just said, I need to daven. So I didn't end my meal. It's different when you end your meal, and it's different when you're davening in the middle. So Rav Moshe Feinstein says that his grandson asked him, but when you're davening, the whole world has to end. You're talking to God now. That means your meal ended. If you're davening, right, nothing else is on your mind except tefillah. It's hesach dat from eating. So it is an ending. So Rav Moshe Feinstein said, but there's sometimes you sit at a table and you're eating, right, and then you don't eat for 10 minutes. You're on your phone, you read a book, you talk to someone, and you're not even thinking about the food. Because you are eating, you're talking, you're drinking, you're reading, you're looking at your phone. So it's possible that you're in a meal and you're not eating and you're still considered part of your meal. So says Rav Moshe, same thing with tefillah. You're right, during tefillah, you can't think about your food, you're thinking about tefillah, but you didn't think that you ended your meal when you did tefillah. It's a difference between ending your meal and being busy during the meal. That's why Moshe seems to come out. That being busy during the meal doesn't require you to make another bracha. Therefore, if I got up and I daven, I don't have to make another bracha. Okay, so says the Shulchan Aruch. Take a look at 47 on page 47, source 47. You might just head off to 47th Street. Let's go. Misha Niskar. Here's a diamond for you guys. Misha Niskar. B'taich hasuda shelo yitpalel v'amed v'yitpalel. Someone remembered during the meal that he didn't daven, he stood up and daven. I feel him ain shahot ligmor sudato. Even if he didn't have time to finish his meal, v'yitpalel, and he daven shechayev lahafsik, and he has to stop eating and he has to daven because there's not any more time. It's not considered an interruption. So says the Shulchan Aruch, like the Tosfot, like the Rav Moshe explained it, that davening in middle is not considered a hefsek. It's not considered an interruption. And And then he brings here the next halacha. Someone took a short nap during the meal. It's also not considered an interruption.
With the bagel in the mouth.
Right, the bagel in the mouth. I remember my father, should live and be well, but there were times when my father used to come home very exhausted. And he used to run to the shul. He had a business and stuff like that. And a lot of times, especially Friday night, like in the middle of the Suda, he would just zonk out, and you can talk, scream, yell. He didn't hear you. He was out cold, right? I guess it was considered a nap. It's a nap at the table. If you lay down and sleep, that's considered a hefsek complete. You don't have to make new brachas when you get up. Going to bed, that's saying I'm done my meal. All right. Going to bed is saying I'm done my meal. Let's take a look here in the Yalkut Yosef English edition, page 96. Hold on, page 96. If someone nods off to sleep during a meal, it's not considered an interruption. And he doesn't have to make a new bracha. If he goes to sleep on a bed during the meal, that is an interruption. He showed that he's finished his meal. Right. I don't know. Good question. Elio says, what about the couch? The couch is in the dining room. It's in the living room. I don't know.
Laying down. I feel like they were stretching while they were eating.
Yeah, but you're not doing that. That's a good. Tzarchin. I'm going to leave it at Tzarchin. Because I don't know. I mean, what are you doing? What do you do usually when you go to the couch? You fall asleep and you're gone after that, or is that
maybe it depends.
Ridiculous?
Standing or is it like
Regularly, do you go to the couch and just take a short break? Some people do that. I've seen some families, they do that. They eat and then they walk over to the couch and they clean this, talk to them, and then they come back to the meal. That maybe is not an interruption. Maybe you didn't show that you're going to sleep. You're just taking a break. So much food, right? You need to take a break. So after, it's not an interruption.
Some people sleep on the couch.
If you lay down to sleep on the couch, then that's an interruption. If you're just laying down to take a break, I ate so much, I need a rest. I don't know how it works. So then it's not an interruption.
So remember that picture with Romans where they were reclining,
right?
But he's sleeping, eating away.
Yeah, we don't do that today. Okay, just to end off, on page 48, he talks about the case. I'm middle of eating my meal. And I remember mincha, and I run to mincha, and I didn't say Birkat Hamazon. Now I come back to the meal. I ran to shul.
Oh, you changed the
And so you remember that whole case of Shinei Makom? So this will play out. So according to Chamuvadia, who held like the Ramah, because Safek Brachat Lahakel, once you make a hamotzi and you left and you come back, you do not have to make a new bracha. So you could go to shul, right? You could go to shul, daven mincha, daven aravit, come back home, and you can continue eating without bracha rishona. Because we hold like the Ramah in this case, because Safek Brachat Lahakel. Because we said that once you make a bracha that requires a bracha achorona in its place, then you had intention to come back. So it's not that you did not interrupt the meal. You can come back, and if someone decides in the middle of the meal to go out to the synagogue, it is best that he first says Birkat Hamazon. Lechatchila, you shouldn't get up. The Ramah holds this way also. You shouldn't get up and leave. You say Birkat Hamazon. If he goes to the shul without saying Birkat Hamazon, he must not recite another bracha when he returns. He must not recite. He resumes eating. This is the rule. If it's bread or it's from the Shiva Haminim, right? Then he does not make another bracha. He goes back to eating. If it's regular fruit or stuff like that, then he has to make another bracha, because the bracha of fruit and juices and stuff like that is not required in that place. So that didn't mean you were coming back to the place. So you have to make another bracha every time you come back.
So I'm coming from home to shul.
Okay.
Daven, mincha, and then I see the people eating. Come, eat.
And you made a motzi at home.
Yeah.
And now you're here and it's bread. You don't have to make another motzi. Yeah. Same thing.
Now, what's the time?
So what's the time of a Suda?
72 minutes.
Right.
Now, 72 minutes is what we assume people stay satiated after a meal.
No. I'm saying he went to shul.
Yeah.
What's the interruption time? How big is to continue?
I guess how long, I would assume it has to do with how long usually your meal lasts. How long usually your meal lasts. Some people have 3-hour meals. Some people have 3-hour meals on Shabbat. I remember when I first got married, we invited my wife's cousins over. So we had Ephraim, we had Maisei, all your cousins. And we had a couple other couples come over. And we started the meal. It was during, the Shabbat started like 5 o'clock. We start down to the meal to 6. We didn't finish the meal till midnight. So it was a 6-hour meal. So it's possible, it's after they have 6-hour meals. I don't know, you have to look at the case. So ordinary Shabbat, how long is your meal? Anyway, this now completes that section. So we're done with that. We finished Hilchot Zimun. Be'ez Hashem, the next time we learn, we will be starting Hilchot of, I'll make it up, Hilchot of Birkat Hamazon. So Hilchot of Birkat Hamazon will start next time.
So Safek Brachot Lehakil against Maran? Is it usually like that in this case?
Yes, that's what Kamaladia is doing. That's correct. Against Maran. Yeah. Okay. Shua Tov Kulam. Toda Rabba.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.